Hi again, and welcome back to another episode of the Living with Grace podcast. Anna and I are thrilled to have you along with us, and we want to take a moment to say thank you for being with us here today. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. In today's episode, we're continuing our conversation about thoughts and how our thought work and thought experience and how that impacts our lives. Um, so we're just talking about how thought impacts us. And before we go full throttle, I just want to take a moment and say hi to my friend, Anna. Anna, let's continue our conversation about thoughts and also bring in the idea of what we can do to help shape our thoughts and our life experience.
Yes. Hello, my dear friend Mary. Hello, everyone who is listening to this podcast. We are so very grateful for your help and support and for you being here because we build life together. On our last episode, we talk about how our thoughts, the stories we tell ourselves, end up building the life that we are living right now, building our destiny, and how negative behaviors, how negative thoughts and feelings and emotions, the negative caveman brain really is holding us back. So for today, Mary and I want to talk to you about the thought practice, about how to really change the life that you are experiencing in your body right now, the life that you deserve, the life that it's brilliant, and we are going to talk about how to build this life every day through the thought practice. Yes. Go
Right.
ahead,
So,
Mary.
so I think, again, first we recognize that we have thoughts and that they kind of run in the back of our mind. They're kind of coming and into our awareness, and we have the ability to choose which thoughts we want to move closer to and which thoughts we want to move away from, or we can even have the ability to just stop thoughts altogether or just reject a thought altogether. And I think it's important for us to realize that we have that power and we have that choice. It doesn't always feel easy, and especially if we are not even aware of what we're thinking. Again, we weave thoughts together, either singular thoughts, maybe a thought about our appearance, a thought about an experience. And then sometimes we put all of those thoughts together and then we begin to create stories. And sometimes those stories can serve us and sometimes they really don't. And I guess I, I want to give an example of a story that I could tell myself. But before I do, I also want to just kind of introduce the idea that our brains have, again, a default mode, and we are generally thinking about life in terms of danger. That's what our brains were made to do. They have evolved, but that is their default, is to consider danger, to find the negative aspects or things that might be dangerous to protect us. And so that's what our brain does. And so I just want to preface it that way because I think it's natural, for us to find the negative things, to think, because that is what our brain is looking for in order to protect us. But it doesn't always serve us. And, we can tell ourselves really negative things, and that can become our story and keep us stuck. For those of you who follow this podcast or have followed me or are familiar with me in any way, my life experience, having lost my son Brian, I could tell myself so many stories about that. I have told myself stories about that. And what has really empowered me, what has really helped me on my path and my life journey, is realizing that I have the choice to choose different things about what has happened in my life. I have the ability to to reject a particular thought. You know, I have the ability to embrace a particular thought about it. My life experience has brought in highs and lows, and it's what I choose to tell myself about the experience is how my experience has been shaped. If I let it, I could tell myself, you know, that I'll never be happy again. And I choose not to do that. I choose thoughts that serve me and lift me up and help me on my path. Because the thing is that, you know, we came here to live life in its entirety. We came here for the highs, for the lows, for all of the experience, and sometimes stepping back to away from your story gives us the ability to see that, to see the big picture in life, to see that we are souls um, living life with the idea that we came here to experience it all. So I kind of just wanted to preface our whole talk through that lens. Right, Anna?
Yes, absolutely. Like the story of grief, my husband died in 2016. And again, like Mary said, the beginning of the story was painful. Of course, it's grief, it's mourning, right? It's a story of sadness, of dreams that were shattered. However, I have the choice to to stay there in the black hole, to stay there in the pain, or we have the choice to one step at a time, one thought at a time, reevaluate and reframe and shift and find gratitude and find love and surrender to the big plan of God, to the plan of the soul, and keep moving. And suddenly creating a different life. Like I could have been laying down on my bed, still not really wanting to open the blinds and being in a dark room. Or here I am. I am talking about how to reframe your thoughts, how to build a life that you deserve, how to honor the love that you had in your whole life with everyone that has crossed your path, my husband, my mom, my dad, and Mary, and each one of you who are listening to me. So I'm honoring my life. I am honoring the fact that I had the chance to be here in this life right now. And by doing the practices we are going to discuss, it's like Gary Zukav says, I am looking at each experience, either painful or peaceful, as a path in my life, as a step, a brick. You know, I'm building the road that I'm walking. And each experience is definitely a brick, a cobblestone in that path, you know, and I mold the road as I walk by doing the practices of awareness of your thoughts, questioning, observing, releasing the ones that do not serve you, releasing the ones that are not true, and just reframing. But again, it's daily. I don't want to say work. It's daily awareness,
Practice.
daily practice. Yes, it's a daily practice that is fun because when I recognize that what I'm telling me it's not true, I know that by stopping and recognizing and shifting, I am leaving that lesson behind. I am moving from, eighth grade to 10th grade, and I am learning and I am evolving and I am progressing. And the lessons are building up, and the lessons are becoming my strength, my resilience, and the lessons are becoming who I am. And then I can give forward together with each one of you.
That's right. And so for those of you listening and watching, you may be thinking, wow, you know, that sounds really good. It sounds great, you know, Mary and Anna, that you've been able to maybe identify a story, you know, and shift those and do that daily practice. But you know, how, you know, I mean, and I want to honor you if you feel, you know, if you feel uh overwhelmed maybe by your story, consumed by your story, but I want you to have hope that it is that in the knowledge that it is a story, even I believe, even the most difficult, um, terrible, I can't say that word, sorrowful
Powerful.
stories, yes, they are rooted in truth, but even those stories can be shifted. So let's talk about how to do that. There are tangible, intangible ways for us to find some space from our thoughts and our stories so that we can begin to question our thoughts, evaluate our thoughts, and dismiss or embrace the thought, depending on what the thought is, and therefore change our story and shape and reframe our whole life experience. So, the first one that I wanted to talk about, that we want to talk about, is you have to become aware of what you're thinking, before you can begin to change it. So, awareness. So, beginning just to try to tune in to your self-talk, to hear what you're thinking, to hear those thoughts. How can you begin to identify those thoughts? It's been my experience that the many times we think we know what we're thinking. It's like, oh yeah, my thoughts, I'm doing fine. I think mostly I'm a positive person. You've heard that. I'm a positive person. I have positive thoughts. And overall, that may be true, and I certainly hope it is. But sometimes I think that if you really begin to become aware of your thoughts, it it can be an eye-opening experience. So, what I'd like to suggest is that from time to time, maybe for a few days, from time to time during the day, set a timer either on your phone, on your laptop, or whatever you have, and just stop for a moment and reevaluate. Ask yourself, what was I just thinking about? See if you can catch yourself in a positive or a negative thought. Try to catch yourself in your thought patterns and begin to see what it is that you're thinking. Right, Anna?
Yes. I like what Mary says about awareness. In the beginning, it was difficult for me to grasp the meaning of awareness, you know. And then I realized I'm going to change the word, so then it's going to be easier for me. And I started like awareness is paying attention, is focusing. And then it was easier for me to realize, oh, okay, it's a little bit more graspable. So I pay attention. I invite you, like Mary says, to pay attention to your thoughts and your feelings. And you probably are going to feel in your body when something is really hurtful because your body is your compass. So from time to time during the day, like Mary said, whenever you are feeling something that doesn't sit good in your heart or doesn't sit good in your body, just stop, and pay attention and be aware of what is going on in that moment, in that situation, and what are you feeling and what are you thinking. And that's the moment to use the pause to kind of become the observer and just ask yourself, is what I'm feeling really real? Is what I'm thinking really real? Because you might be in a meeting, for example, and you are feeling like overwhelmed that with imposter syndrome, for example, oh man, they are going to realize that I don't know what I'm saying that I know. So that's the moment you're going to feel like this weird sensation in your body that doesn't sit good with your heart. And then observe and ask yourself, wait a second, am I really an imposter? Do I really not know? Or even if I don't know, am I really here? Isn't the purpose of being here in this meeting to keep learning? So see, in a blink of like 3 seconds, you are able to really stop a little bit and question and evaluate if it's real and change and really change the whole pattern, behavior, and the feeling in your heart, right?
Right. And I would say that if you're in a position, if you're at home or in a quiet place or by yourself, maybe is what I'm thinking. If you're able to, when you set a timer or and you stop and you pause and you think about what you're thinking, again, as Anna said, ask yourself, is it real? Is it valid? Is that, is that something that am I just feeling insecure right now? What is it that I'm feeling? And write it down if you can. Write it down, keep a little journal. It doesn't have to be like a whole notebook, but try to write down when you catch yourself in a thought, especially if it feels uncomfortable. Write it down, and again, question the thought. You need to just kind of question the thought. And again, and I think that if you find a thought upsetting, triggering, that is a good clue that it needs your attention. It's trying to tell you something. So writing it down can help you to kind of uncover more information about it. So
Yep.
the first step is to become aware of your thoughts. Begin the process of trying to catch yourself in some negative thought, negative self-talk. So
Yep.
that's number one. Anything else you want to add to that, Anna, before we move?
Yes, I like the idea of catching the thought, catching the feeling, catching the emotion, observing your body, and asking and questioning. And there are techniques that, like Mary said, you go to a quiet place, you write them down, you look at what is behind that thought, what is behind that. And because when you are writing, you're journaling, the flow comes faster, and you might be able to realize, oh my God, I wasn't aware of that. And when you realize, that's the lesson, that's the break that you're going to use in your road of healing, right? And so use the time that you have during the day. If you are surrounded by people, just be quiet for a few seconds. If you are alone, that's awesome. You might use like 10 minutes and just be with that. And again, do not deny, do not suppress, just be with that, because that's when you're going to find what it's behind, and you're going to be changing that for your life. Yes. And again, just realizing that your thoughts and your emotions, like this is a mindfulness technique, right? That Mary is
Yes.
going to discuss too. And mindfulness, I used to think mindfulness is I am going to sit down and I'm not going to be thinking anything, and I'm going to be a blank mind. And since I never got to feel like that, I even was resistant to practicing mindfulness, because I'm like, I don't do it right. And just recently, I got to realize in a course that I was doing that no, mindfulness is really not having a quiet, blank mind. Mindfulness, which is what Mary is saying about sitting and being with your thoughts and emotions,
Right.
is just that. Is sitting and allowing your thoughts and emotions come and go, even if they are messy, even if they are chaotic, like wandering and scattered on your brain. And just do not judge any of them. At the moment I feel like, oh, I've thought about that. If you are judging, then that's the moment of you just like, okay, I'm stopping. I'm just letting it be. And the analogy is like as if your mind and your feelings and your thoughts are like a dog. You are going to walk with your dog in a park, the mindfulness area, and you take the leash and your dog is running free and happy and wandering and scattered, no like direction, all messy. And that's your thoughts and your feelings. They're going to be all messy in that moment of calm and peace and quietude. And that's the point. Just let them be free, because your brain is releasing, your amygdala is calming, and at some of those thoughts are going to be cleaned, deleted, and erased from your mind, which is good, right?
Absolutely. And that is so, again, this first step was to become aware. And the second step, which Anna has kind of laid out as mindful meditation or mindfulness is to be able to detach from the thought. So you become aware of the thought, you become aware of what you're thinking, and then you question it. And if it's valid, you find a way, even if if it's not valid, it's easy to just let go of it. Well, that's not true. And if it is valid, then, and it's still upsetting or uncomfortable, then you find a way to detach from the thought. And so mindful meditation and mindfulness is a way to detach from the thought. So letting your dog off the leash and, letting your mind kind of wander and the thoughts go, and then you put your dog back on the leash or whatever, you bring yourself back to mindfulness, to the awareness of your thoughts. That helps you to approach it with awareness, and then to be able to become aware, and then to detach. And that's really all that meditation in general is. It's just becoming aware of your thoughts, noticing, oh, I'm having a thought. I'm and sitting in stillness. I'm uh, clearing, trying to, I don't even want to say clearing your thoughts, because mindful meditation really isn't about not thinking. It's about being aware of the idea that you are thinking, and then coming back to your breath or peacefulness, letting a thought drift by, seeing it drift by, and then like, oh, there's a thought, and then you come back. But see, even when I'm noticing a thought, and then I said, oh, there's a thought, when I come back to, slow breathing and peacefulness, I am detaching from that thought. That is the detachment. And the more you practice that, the better you'll become at detaching from it. You notice a thought, then you come back to breathing. You notice the thought, you come back to breathing or something that's peaceful. So that's mindful meditation.
Yes, and that's very interesting what you are saying, because it's like research studies, lots of studies show that if you do this quietude time for 10 minutes, that's all that is needed. You don't need more than 10 minutes a day, and you could do that when you are laying down on your bed before going to sleep and let your mind wander, or you could do that just sitting on your patio and closing your eyes, or just being in quietude. It's important to be silent for these 10 minutes. Really do not connect with your phone or music or email or podcasts. Just put your phone aside from you for 10 minutes and put the timer there to let you know that it's 10 minutes, and just engage with your senses and feeling and hearing and observing what's going on, and let your brain be. And you could do that by walking as well, a silent walk for 10 minutes. And what Mary is going to talk about the walk is that it's really important. It's movement for your body. And while you are walking, you are building muscles, you are building bones, and your muscles are releasing molecules called myokines, which are molecules of hope, and are really like working on your amygdala, which is calming down your stress and your cortisol, and it's releasing dopamine, which is reward, and endorphins that make you feel good. And you are just getting, in a different ground, in a different state of mind that will definitely create a different life for you on that day, and again and again and again, and build a different life. So yes, Mary, talk about movement a little bit for the mindfulness practice.
That's true. So, again, when you're practicing meditation and or practicing your deep breathing, calming your nervous system, those are two ways to detach. And again, as Anna was talking about, walking and moving your body, whatever that may mean, but especially in nature, as another way of, calming your nervous system, your amygdala, as Anna mentioned, and bringing you back into the present moment, and in a place where you're able to detach from stories and from thoughts. So moving your body is such a fabulous way to detach from thought by calming your nervous system and, you know, and releasing stress for sure. I was going to say that,
And with this grounding too,
yes,
if you are in nature, it's really good. Like if you could be on your patio or on a park, just take your shoes and stand like barefoot in the grass, so releasing all the energy to the ground. And you can just open your hands up and open your arms up and just get the sun and get the energy from the goodness of all that is around you. Or you could just like put your hands in your heart and hug yourself and show self-love. And all this is like nurturing and nourishing to your soul and nourishing to your heart.
that's
And
right.
while you are doing that, you could do the breathing techniques too, the breathing techniques that are calming, like the box 4-8-4-8, like you breathe in for 4, hold for 8, and then I kind of just said, I think,
Well,
yes,
it's
breathing.
breathe in for 4, hold for 7, release for 8. That's the way I learned it. But
Yes,
any variation of that is great
yes.
too, and that is so helpful.
And
That, you know, side note that doing that if you wake up in the middle of the night for a few rounds can help you fall back asleep as well. So,
yes. And another really good breathing technique, and the breathing techniques are research proven too because they calm the they work on the vagus nerve, and
Mhm.
the vagus nerve is your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calming down of your body, the settling down your nervous system. So another breathing technique that it's really good, two other breathing techniques that are really good. One is when you take a deep breath and then you exhale in a longer way and very slow. And you could even make a noise like, like
Yeah,
that, because you are calming down. And you can do that for 5 times or how many times you need with your hands in your heart. And at the end, just tell yourself that you are loved and that you are safe. And that's like a technique that calms you a lot during the day. That helps me a lot during the day when my days are busy and stressful. And another, yes,
well, I
go
was just going
ahead.
to say for me, that's the most effective one, really, is to breathe in through my nose, you know, and
Yeah.
even just let my shoulders go and
Yes.
relax my face. That makes me feel instantly calm. I do 2 or 3 rounds of that, and it's
Yep.
amazing the
Yep.
difference.
And it's science proven. You are working on your vagus nerve. And another one is humming or singing, which is also vagus nerve technique for calming down. And like that for as much as you can, or just sing because it's the phrenic nerve that you are moving when you are exercising your diaphragm, which is the muscle of breathing. And the other one that it's really cool, this what you can see behind, like when you are crying, your body knows so well. Your body does like right? Because you need to soothe and calm your body because you're crying, you are nervous, you are anxious, you're suffering, you are in pain or whatever, in sadness, right? So instant, like unconditionally, your body does that. And that's you calming down yourself. So
Yeah.
you can do that during the day too. It's a crying technique to make yourself better,
That's an
right?
interesting one. Yeah, that
Yep.
is a really good one. I mean, it's involuntary when you're that
Yes,
upset,
involuntary. I said
but you,
unconditionally, but it's involuntary, the
oh,
word I
same
wanted to
thing,
use.
same thing. But your body, isn't it fascinating that your body just does that instinctively, knows that it needs to do that. So
Yep.
I love that. But yeah, you
So,
know, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
so all these techniques like walking in nature, 10 minutes silent, it needs to be silent, no connection, and or sitting on your patio or grounding on your earth or the breathing techniques, all these really allow you to be aware of that moment. Pay attention to your thoughts and the stories you are telling yourself. Pay attention to how you're feeling in your body and just shift it. Really laugh at yourself. Hey, you're telling me I'm not good enough? Oh my God, Anna, you're so wrong. Yeah. And just keep moving. Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, it does not happen in a blink of an eye. It's a technique, it's a practice, and you do it at each and every second that you need, and
Absolutely.
you're going to see a huge difference in your life.
You are. And, an interesting thing, when you are walking in nature, remember that default brain mode that I spoke of at the beginning of this episode briefly, and in the last episode more extensively. But that same study found that people who were walking in nature, when they did post brain scans, they found that there was less activity in that part of the brain that was linked to self-criticism, sadness, and rumination. So yes, again, doing that is what's helping you to detach from those negative thought patterns
Yes.
and all of those negative things. And finally, I think well, maybe not finally, but another very, very important way to detach from your thoughts is by practicing gratitude, right? Because when you, and hear me on this is why gratitude, one of the reasons why gratitude, if you're listening, I want you to hear this, why gratitude is so effective and so important, because when you are in gratitude, when you are thinking about something you're grateful for, you cannot be thinking something negative. When you're in gratitude, you are in positivity and you are thinking of something that is not negative. And I just love that. I mean, that's so beautiful.
Yes, I love that. And like you guys could go, you girls, ladies, you all could listen to the episodes we discussed about the science of gratitude and the practice of gratitude. It's definitely worthy to be listening to that, because we talked about like the release of endorphins and dopamine and DHEA, and how gratitude really reframe your life and your brain and your default negative brain, the amygdala, and decreases cortisol. And what I loved about Mary saying, like, when you are practicing gratitude, you cannot think about anything negative, because it's it's a shift in your mindset. It's a way of seeing life differently. It's changing the lenses that you are looking at life. Um, and again, like we discussed in the gratitude episode, it's not about negative positivity. It's not about a Pollyanna mindset that, oh, everything is pinkish now.
Right.
No, it's not. It's really about, there is always something that you could be grateful for, even in the most difficult situation you are going through. And your job, your practice is to find it by questioning, what is the lesson? What is the lesson? What is the gift? And you're going to find something to be grateful for. Like in my grief, I am grateful that I have met my husband, and I have lived 11 years with him, and I have learned so much, and I am here now being able to give forward. It took lots of years. Again, it wasn't in a blink of an eye, but question, and you will really find the gratitude on the situation. Like, I had abuse in my life, and it opened the door for me to be here in the United States and be a doctor, you know. So there is always something that you can envision when you pause, when you are mindful, when you are silent, when you are in nature, when you are with yourself, when you are connected with the abundance of the universe. You are going to shift from pain to peace, from fear to love. You're going to shift your life. And I heard someone saying at church one day, when you are in a big ship, and I believe that we are big ships because we are our bodies with our souls, right? Our souls with our bodies. Like, and you are in the ocean, in open ocean, you cannot like simply move the steering wheel of the ship, because that would be a problem. It could even break the ship. But you change 1 degree today, and then you change 1 degree
Mhm.
tomorrow, and then you change 1 degree the day after tomorrow. And suddenly, instead of ending up in Alaska, you might end up in South America. So again, you are shifting very little each day. and you are going to definitely change the destination of your life. You are going to build the life that you are meant to have, the life that God has in store for you, the life that your soul deserves, the life that your body is living and enjoying. And if you are a person dealing with grief, like me and Mary, you are going to live the life that the person you love dearly who died wants you to live. Because the person you love dearly who died in body is alive in soul, all light in the presence of God. And the love you have is also the love they have for you. And this love keeps expanding beyond life and beyond eternity and beyond body because it's a soul love. And the love only wants you to enjoy life and build joy and health and peace for you daily. And that's what you're going to be doing if you do the practice, the thought practice that we are talking today. If you go back and check gratitude, that's what you're going to be doing, shifting 1 degree each day and completely changing your destiny, right?
I love that so much because you basically, just really demonstrated how you can take thoughts and shift them, but not only shift them, but reframe them into a way that is definitely more uplifting and serves you more. And there's always a way to do that. And there's always, and gratitude is such a great avenue to do that because you just went through the whole thing, like when you're missing, if you're, if you're grieving, if you're someone who's if you're the mom of a child in spirit, there is always something to be grateful for, their life, or for me, maybe currently, I would say the idea that we talk about, Brian a lot now. There was a time we couldn't talk about him. It was so painful, but I am grateful that he's in our lives every day, and more, my children who are still here will share a memory of Brian, which they didn't used to. So, there's always something to be grateful for, and it's there. So, and when I'm thinking about feeling that gratitude, I am not thinking about missing him. I'm grateful for that memory. So gratitude is such a great way to detach from, a thought that's more painful, and to bring a more uplifting thought that is serving you and me.
Yep.
So
Yeah. It's reframing, it's shifting, it's giving a new meaning. You are giving a new meaning, a new definition, a new value, yeah, to what happened and to what happens and to what you are thinking and how you are feeling. You are just like grabbing one thing. It's like you are grabbing the orange and you are turning it into juice, right? So
yes.
you are grabbing the thought
Yeah.
that does not belong and you are squeezing it and finding what is that you can use, what is that you can build a new meaning, and what is that is the lesson and the brick for your road, and what is the gratitude, and what is going to be the new one that you're going to create from that. The foundation is the orange, it's the thought and the feeling that is painful, but you're going to squeeze it until you have the juice that will produce the new meaning and the new thought that you're going to use for the new words, for the new actions, for the new patterns, for the new behaviors, and for the new life.
Love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then finally, I just want to say never undermine or understate. I don't want to ever understate the importance of sleep. You need to be able to sleep so that you can, if you're not well rested, it's hard to think straight in general. So never underestimate the value of sleep and hydration. And, because, and Anna, I bet you're so well aware of this for sure, but if you are dehydrated, which is a serious condition, can really play tricks on your mind. So medically speaking, you need to be hydrated. And also, finally, the last thing I have is always, spend time around people who lift your spirit and help you to see your value, the beauty of your essence, and the goodness of your nature. So,
And on that, I want to say spend time with people who uplift you and see the goodness of your nature and your value. And for that, I want to say it starts with you, person who is listening with me. Spend time with you and make sure that you are going to see your value. You are going to see and uplift yourself and the goodness of your soul and your nature. So take some time during the day or during the week. It's so hard, I know, because it was hard for me too, and it is still hard for me too, because I have the self behavior of being my own critic, right? But take some time to just stop in front of your mirror and look at yourself and be proud of you for being alive and be proud of everything you have gone through and you have walked through and you have pushed through and you are here listening to us. So like hug yourself and tap yourself on your back and give you a high five in silence. Just celebrate your little wins, your small wins, the big ones. Celebrate you being alive today, just because, again, from the first episode, you teach the people around you how they are going to see you and how they are going to treat you. So it has to be you looking at the mirror and loving you and building the love for you and connecting to the love for you and celebrating you each day. And when you're going to do that, trust me, the people around you will feel your energy and you're going to vibrate in the higher energy that will attract the people that Mary is telling right now. And you are already vibrating in this energy. Otherwise, you are not going to be here with us. So just keep increasing the energy by loving you each day a little bit more.
and celebrate those good thoughts about yourself. When you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're not thinking the negative thoughts, you're thinking the positive thoughts. You're doing this thought work, you're doing this thought practice, that is a great way to practice it, by looking at yourself in the mirror, and your words are an expression of your thoughts, right? So when you're telling yourself that I'm grateful for you, that you're here and you're doing your best, and I celebrate all of your wins, you are using your thoughts in a positive way, to uplift yourself and show up for you.
Yes. And with that, I want to tell each one of you that Mary and I, we celebrate you. We love you. You are a radiant person. You are lovable, and you are the light of your soul. You are the goodness of God by being a child of God and the creator and the universe and the higher power. And we celebrate you for being here with us. We celebrate you for being alive. We celebrate you for saying yes to yourself, and we celebrate you for saying yes to your life. And we wish you a life that you will be each and every second living
with grace. So thank you all so much. Anna is so right. We love you so much, and we want you to feel that deeply. And we also want to wish you so much love, so much peace, and so much grace. And on that note, we want to say bye-bye for now. Take good care of you.